Hi, this is Jessica DeMassa in the Guidewell Insights Lounge here at Exponential Medicine. I'm here with Dr. Catherine Mohr. She is the Vice President for Strategy at Intuitive Surgical. So thank you for joining us today.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So I wanted to start out by asking you, from a technology standpoint, obviously Intuitive is well known for the Da Vinci robot. So what are you seeing as some of the new exponential technologies that are coming down the pike that you're really excited about?
One of the things that I talked about today is that when a process or system moves from being physical to being data, that's when you can really start to see huge changes in technology or exponential changes in how fast you're making improvements. And so with surgical robotics, we digitize surgery. We turn surgery into, or at least we observe surgery with data. And we can start doing things like learning algorithms on that, or pattern matching on the visuals, or thinking about different ways in which we can bring AI technologies in. And that really opens up a lot of very exciting areas that we can do with it. We're still doing the physical surgery. It's still one patient, one surgeon, but we start to really open up some of the things that we can do in terms of data that supports clinical decision making.
So talk a little bit more about that. Let's go one step further on that. So what kind of data are you guys able to collect, and how are you turning that into actionable insights then for the clinician or the surgeon?
Well, so we don't collect it on every case. We do it as part of studies generally when we're looking at how people learn. And so we can look at someone longitudinally when they first start out, when they're a novice, and then the kinds of things that they do as they progress to being more expert. And we can look at sets of experts, and we can look at sets of novices, and we can say, what is it about that journey from novice to expert that we could maybe make go faster? That we could get insights into this sort of learning type best is suited to this kind of instruction type. So we start to be able to do a lot of very interesting things with that.
Excellent. So you're going to be able to get some of these new technologies into market a little bit quicker, maybe?
Yeah, or just know how to build simulation-based training or information support aids that help people with the kinds of things that they run into, the decision problems that they have when they're doing a surgery.
Okay, so other than this whole, the data application of this, what other exponential technologies are you really excited about over at Intuitive in terms of integrating into the products that you already have, or into your approach to the market in general?
A couple of other things. I'm really excited about a lot of things we're doing in imaging. Where a lot of the machine learning algorithms that are coming up and that are so rapid change is happening in these areas can be applied to the types of surgical images or 3D preoperative images, and being able to figure out where are you, navigate, be able to help people find where a tumor is, that sort of thing. And so a lot of very exciting things in terms of imaging. Now I'm forgetting what I was going to say was the second most exciting thing.
We have data. We've talked about data a little bit. We're talking about advances in imaging. Are there any other trends? Okay, good. We're on the train of thought again.
Back on my train of thought.
No, hey.
We also have a lot of interesting new sensors that are coming out. And so we, in the past, could sort of measure where people were in position space, but we hadn't been able to sort of look at the physiologic changes of the person who was operating. Are they stressed out? Are they relaxed? Are they puzzled? Can we adapt to make it sort of a better user experience as we're more sort of adapting to the state of the person that's using it?
Interesting.
The other kinds of sensors, and one that I talked a little bit about today, is things like these shape sensors, which are long glass sensors that can tell the position in space of that whole fiber. This allows us to do a lot of really interesting catheter-based robots, flexible robots, that are going to let us go in, say like into the lung, and be able to both diagnose and we hope eventually treat lung cancer from inside the lung without having to go through the chest wall and perhaps have a pneumothorax or deflate the lung. And so I'm excited by all of the horizons that get opened up by a lot of these new sensors.
Excellent. So I was going to ask, I remember myself when the Da Vinci robot came out and how revolutionary that was. And it was really like first big commercial play for marketization for robotics. So tell me, what have you guys learned about taking some of the, like that was an exponential technology, it still is. What did you learn by taking that into the market? What advice would you have for others trying to drive these expo tech into more, into the healthcare delivery system?
The technology is not enough.
Okay, what does that mean?
Yeah.
That's very Yoda-like.
It's very Yoda, yes. You can have a great innovation, but you have to understand how it fits into society, especially in healthcare. You have to figure out how humans are humans. Surgically, we're almost all identical. We're bigger and smaller, but we've got the same organs, we bleed the same way.
Right.
But all of these humans are sitting inside the culture of medicine of their individual countries. And unless the device you make is going to be able to work within the economic constraints, the cultural constraints, the healthcare policy constraints, the regulatory constraints in all of these different countries, you're not going to be able to have that kind of exponential effect that you want to have, because you're not going to be able to get to all of those humans. And so you've got to be thinking in terms of not just what is the widget I make, but what is the environment that I'm bringing it in? How is it going to change the environment that I'm bringing it into? What are the unintended consequences associated with that, and how do I work with that? And it's what a lot of technology people don't often think about.
Right.
They think about the tech, they think about the thing it does, but they don't think about all of the implications and how to really make it effective.
That's some great advice about innovating at scale. I wanted to ask you one final question as we wrap up. So, we're here at, obviously a conference that talks a lot about what's on the bleeding edge, big ideas. So what has you most optimistic about the future of healthcare as someone who's been in the industry for a while?
I do a lot of work in emerging markets.
Okay.
And one of the things that is so exciting to me is the profound demographic shifts that are happening in the world. We've seen so many people move out of poverty. And when they move out of poverty into even just the beginnings of middle class or lower middle class, some of the first things that happen is that their health care improves dramatically. Once they have a little bit of discretionary money, one of the first things that people spend on is wellness and prevention.
Right.
And so in terms of the movements that have happened, these demographic changes are making really profound changes in just the expectation of people in terms of what wellness is and what they deserve to expect out of life. And so it's this groundswell of people moving out of subsistence into a more comfortable environment that I think is just going to fundamentally change healthcare and how we think about it.
Yeah, it's a paradigm shift completely. Wonderful. That's beautifully said. Thank you so much, Dr. Mohr, for joining us here today.
You're
it's a pleasure to speak with you and get your insights on everything really, but particularly how you take those exponential technologies and make them a real part of the human experience of their health. So thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you. It was a real pleasure.
Thank you so much. This is Jessica DeMassa from the GuideWell Insights Lounge.